So as you may or may not know, I got the chance to play Lynae early, but what you may not know is that I got a chance to play her early again. And with 3.0's launch finally here, I wanted to give you guys the tea on whether or not Lynae is worth pulling. So in today's video, I'm going to give you the rundown on new 3.0 mechanics and if pulling for blondes is really okay. Yes! My name is Braxophone, but you can call me Brax, and let's talk about Lynae. I need to inform you that this character has more buffs to her gameplay than I have ornaments on my Christmas tree. And for your information, that is at least 6, but sometimes 7. But before I get into what those are, let's talk about Toon Break. A new version means a completely new meta based on new mechanics, and though we'll likely see negative status characters released soon, we also have the brand new off-tune mechanic and Toon Break mechanics. And though it may sound like just two things, it's actually off-tune, mistuned state, Toon Break, Toon Rupture, Toon Strain, Toon Rupture, Shifting, Toon Rupture, and Toon Strain, which is a fancy way of saying damage. That's a lot of damage. Lynae is a character that can do all of those things, and when she does, everything explodes. But since it's a new mechanic, I'll explain what each thing does. When you hit an enemy, they can stack up off-tune gauge, which looks like this. Every character's off-tune buildup seems to be different, and other characters in the future will modify how much buildup you can do per hit. Generally speaking, every hit you do builds up off-tune, except for when it doesn't, because for some reason, enemies can just choose to ignore you. When the off-tune gauge is full, the enemy enters the mistune state, during which you can press a button to interrupt whatever they're doing for a Toon Break. Winding up for a special move? Toon Break. Just chilling on a Sunday afternoon? Toon Break. Meeting their parents for the first time? Toon Break. Slamming the ground with their fists? Hold on, we gotta let them finish. Toon Break. When you have a character that allows you to inflict one of the two types of shifting effects, Rupture or Strain, you get extra benefits. For example, if Lynae inflicts Toon Rupture Shifting, then when the enemy is Toon Broken, she will do a ton more damage on top of the Toon Break initial damage. When Lynae has inflicted Toon Strain Shifting, after the enemy is Toon Broken, Lynae's damage to that enemy will be increased. Essentially, Rupture is a ton of extra damage at once, which is great for support and sub-DPS characters, and Strain is for main DPS. And multiple characters can respond to these effects at once, so with 3 characters that can respond to Strain, all of them will deal increased damage to the enemy that's debuffed, and with Rupture, you'll be giving the boss a one-way ticket to the nearest hospital. It's anal fissures. Lynae can do either of these things by switching between the two types in her menu, which is also where you'll find Toon Break effects for other characters. Which begs the question, how good is Toon Break, and which version is better? Toon Break is a massive damage increase for your team purely for the fact that it's free. When you Toon Break, there's time stop, so it's essentially completely free damage. Nice. In the teams I tested, I got 1 to 2 Toon Breaks per tower floor. Most of the time, I just got 1, but it depends how many bosses there are and how much HP they have. Toon Break teams aren't built with balance in mind. When Lynae's teams were made, they were made to do similar damage to previous teams, except you also get Toon Break damage on top of whatever you had before, which massively increases DPS. Even my wife is so back because she's doing competitive damage with teams that released at the end of 2.x. That's partly due to Defense Shred affecting break damage while other damage buffs and amps don't, but also partly because Lynae is competitive with Zhezh's damage. Because Lynae is the first enabler of this new archetype and can deal massive damage with it as a sub-DPS, she's pretty dang strong, especially on the Rupture playstyle. She's also the only character in the game with a base 10 break stat. All characters before 3.0 have 0 break stat and no Rupture or Interfered, meaning that they deal the base damage for a break compared to Lynae's higher number, which in my opinion is actually an L from Kuro. But overall, this character does way more than just enhance break teams. After all, I haven't even really told you what she does, so I'm gonna go over her buffs, and those alone should be very telling. If you thought characters like Shorekeeper gave a lot of buffs, it may be time for a divorce. Lynae gives 25 Liberation Amplify to the next character with her outro, 30% attack bonus to the next character with her Echo set, 24% damage bonus to her team with her Resonance Liberation, 24% damage to her team with her weapon, 10% all type damage bonus to the next character with her Echo, 15% all damage amplified to the next character with her outro, and 40 Toon Break boost to your entire team, which at best is a total of 40% damage amplify, 58% damage bonus, 30% attack, and an increase to your break damage. This character is so good that she made my S0 Yuno deal Augusta's damage, and my S6 Yuno Wait, who's Yuna? Lynae is no shorekeeper. She's a completely different role. Mornier will probably be but that's for another time. The point is, though, that Lynae not only adds a lot of damage to your team from breaks, but she also adds a ton from her buffs. And her being in the sub DPS role means that she can even be played with characters like Chisa and Shorekeeper. She does have some problems, though. First off, she's not real. Playing Lynae first in your team setup feels objectively terrible to me. She's a character that needs her intro skill to have any kind of smoothness to her rotations. Otherwise, she's gonna take like an entire hour on the field, and by the time she's off the field, your DoorDash will have arrived. Second off, rotations feel exceedingly important with her because her field time is a fair bit longer than other sub DPS options, at least the ones that I'm used to playing. I'm not really doing guide videos anymore, but here's her rotation since you were kind enough to click on this video, and while you have this one paused to look at it, feel free to subscribe too. It's that little button down below. If you don't mind farming new echoes, then this isn't a negative, but you will definitely need her new set to get all of the upsides. Pact of Neon Light Leap features brand new echoes, including the Hyvadia Echo, and the full set is what gives the huge attack bonus. Because remember, Lynae can give a huge toon break boost to your team. Also, most of the new echoes are mechs, which means we can finally address the elephant in the room. Are clankers becoming a problem in Wuthering Waves? If all of the bosses you have to fight are mechanical, then that insinuates that mechs are probably pretty problematic to human life. They're attacking you, after all. If nothing else, you can collect these mechos and use them at your benefit, but we really should do something about this, guys. One other potential downside of Lynae is that her max potential isn't even in the game yet, since we still have other break characters coming soon, like Mornier. But even though she isn't fully complete in terms of damage that she can output, she's still going to fry your GPU with Spectro numbers. The strongest teams I've tried so far have actually used Chacona with her signature weapon, Lynae, and Yuno, but it's been a ton of fun playing her with Carlotta, Shorekeeper, or Chisa. Overall, the addition of Toon Break has made it so every team does more damage than before, including 1.0 ones. But with Lynae on the field, everything gets even bigger. Almost every single account can benefit from Lynae, meaning her pull value is crazy significant, and I definitely recommend her, especially if you're planning on pulling Mornier as well. Carlotta was the first character to release in 2.0, and even though her best team's damage wasn't on par with future teams, she was still a powerful and flexible damage dealer that was great at dealing with bosses, which leads me to believe that Lynae will be in a similar spot. At the moment, Lynae seems to shine in Toon Rupture, but the new standard weapons coming out in version 3.0 reference Toon Strain a lot, which makes me think that we may get a main DPS rover in 3.x that uses Toon Strain. So I don't think you'll be lost for a Toon Break focused character if you skip, but Lynae definitely isn't going to hurt you. Overall, having played and tested Lynae in a bunch of different teams, I can pretty confidently say she's a very strong character, and I would be very surprised if a character directly power crept her. But we are playing gacha games, so, you know, take that with a grain of salt, and if you're unsure, you can always pull on a rerun. After all, every character can Toon Break, and even though Toon Strain and Toon Rupture are going to be very powerful going forward, it's not like you can't clear tower if you don't have them. You're still getting like a giant increase in damage. But yeah, if you're a meta player, you should probably pull her and Mornier, and then probably like every character that comes out after that. Okay, but she's like really strong.